The views and opinions expressed in this interview are solely those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the views of Nugget Junction Podcast. The content is for informational purposes only and should not be considered professional advice. Nugget Junction Podcast is not responsible for any actions taken based on the information shared in this video. Thank you for watching.
Every nugget worth its while. Voices echo in the night. Go, but yeah. Nugget Junction, here we share. Stories, dreams, and beats we break. Feel the vibe, let's do our thing.
Hello and welcome back. Cranston here again on another episode of the Nugget Junction Pop-Up Podcast. If you haven't watched part one of this exclusive interview, I highly recommend that you go back to get some background information. I am sitting here with the good gentleman, the president of a political party out of Zambia, Mr. Chilufya Tayali.
Yeah.
And we were just getting into the second part of it. Now, you were talking about how at some point you had wanted the former President Edgar Lungu to come back into power. There was a lot of talk around that situation. It was a constitutional issue because others were saying it was going to be then a third term, which the constitution does not allow. There was another school of thought that said, well, he only took over from Michael Chilufya Sata. That wasn't an election, so he wasn't an elected official, and then there was a lot of that talk. And there was even the member saying, Alewelelapo, so to speak, like he's coming back. And it was very surprising to see that you had joined the bandwagon to have him come back into the presidency, to have his name on the ballot, his name and face on the ballot for re-election.
I think I could actually claim to be the proponent
Really?
of the Alebwelelapo, the Lungu's coming back, because I do remember that I don't know if others went to him, but I did go to him and asked him to say, come back.
Can you stand? Yeah.
Come back and contest an election. And at first he refused, but then later on he came around. Anyway, now the question would be, why did I do that? After he lost the elections in 2021, and why? Well,
This I have to hear. Yes, please.
President Hakainde Hichilema struggled so much to become president of the Republic of Zambia. And at the end of the day, he managed. But I don't think he was ready.
He was in opposition for how many elections?
17 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
17 years. But I don't think he was ready, or he didn't understand the running, how government runs. He didn't understand. And, he was preoccupied with, the idea of becoming the president. And he promised people anything. Whatever he thought of, he could be walking and he sees people, drawing water in a well, and you would stop and you would tell them, I'm going to make sure that, you have running water right here, without looking around to say, oh, how will the water come here?
The infrastructure that's needed, yeah.
So he rode on populism, rhetorics. And when he became president, he didn't know where to touch. He didn't know. He had no plan. President Hakainde Hichilema, I can safely say, he had no plan. His plan was, the only plan, if there is a plan, was, debt restructuring.
Which he did very well, do you think?
Well, wait a minute. I would not be that quick in talking about that. But so he was surrounded by these guys, he's a businessman.
Yeah.
A lot of business, he had a good business connection, which actually supported him financed him to become the president.
Yeah.
And in his view, a simplistic kind of view was that, when he becomes president, all these big guys will just put in money, like in a ball in change, an offertory ball in change, and with this money, he will be able to pay the dates and do that and do that and do that. But hey, when he was president, he realized it wasn't like that. Government doesn't run like that. People don't give money just like that. They gave him money for the campaign, but they don't give money to a government. Businessmen don't give money to government. They give money to politicians, but they don't give money to government. They get money from government.
Yeah, contracts and yeah.
So when he was president, these guys, they didn't give. They said, now it's time for us.
Now that you're in the position that,
Yeah. So like those people that were in the mining sector, they were there. It's our time to reap. And therefore we have these concessions, because they told him, and he promised them, because they were talking to him, we have got these taxes are too much, So, all businessmen throughout the world, they complain about taxes.
True.
They complain about taxes.
This is one of the, and there's tax evasion, tax havens and so on.
So the business community, that HH, was whatever, some of them, those who were already in the country, they asked for tax concessions. Those who were outside, they wanted business in the country. Others wanted the mines, others wanted contracts, and a number of contracts were actually given to foreigners. A number of contracts were given, like one of the biggest, the monopoly electricity company. It was literally taken over by the foreigners. Supply
Zesco?
of what? Zesco. Supply of this, supply of that was given to these people. So now, unfortunately, when you are doing that, money is not coming in. This is money going out.
Yeah.
This is money going out. And this is where now you have challenges where now Hakainde Hichilema was stuck to be paying even the civil servants. This is where you're even seeing the military going for 3 months without being paid. Because money was not coming in. He said, when I become president, I'm sworn in at 10 hours, 14 hours, the kwacha.
I heard that. Yeah, it will go up. It will increase in value
It will
against
appreciate.
the dollar. Yeah.
Because he was thinking money will come in. Behold, when he was president, money was going out. So, and then coupled with that, he came in, he wanted to fight corruption. Okay, he wanted to fight corruption.
When you talk about corruption, hasn't corruption gone down though?
I will explain.
Comparatively.
I will explain that. So when he wanted to fight corruption, but corruption was everything that was, any business that was done with PF was corrupt. Any business that was done with PF or under the PF was corrupt. So when he came in, he cut all these business guys. He cut them. And some of these suppliers were very critical, such as medicines. Medicines. He cut medicines, talk about farming inputs. Okay? And when he cut these, we had a challenge. Medicines, we had a shortage of medicines. Because when you cut them, supplying medicine, it is not something that you just buy like the way you buy phones and you bring in the country.
Yeah.
There are regulations.
A lot, yeah.
So I can't just speak to you to say, no. You came to Malaysia and you gave me an interview. So can you supply medicine? No. It's not how it makes. So when you cut these guys, and then you start looking. So when he was looking around, and for example, he was saying, we are cutting all the middlemen. We are going to do government to government. But government and governments don't do business.
Well, not directly.
Exactly. So he was looking. They went to France and asked to say, we want medicine, we have come. You see, I'm justifying my statement that he didn't understand. And he was making these statements. It's not that I'm just making them up. He was making these statements as he was going. We are going to governments and they will supply. And when they go to the government, they said, no, we don't do that. They went to Egypt, for example, and Egypt said, no, but yeah, we have got manufacturers of medicines, but as a government, we can't. So they had to find it, at least for them, because they so much wanted, they had to find a purpose vehicle under which they could whatever. So these things I'm saying, I'm walking through the evidence because I don't just make claims. Yeah. So that is one of the other one is fertilizer. You know, farming in Zambia, the majority Zambians are farmers. You know, that is the largest employment in Zambia, it's farming. And when they came in 2021, they cut all these big guys. And they started going around they went to the Middle East looking for fertilizer. But hey, fertilizer, you don't again just buy it. It comes by sea. It takes months before it arrives into the country. Then the distribution. Those guys who are already there, they procure fertilizer like 3 years before. You know, so that it is in the country, it is distributed.
By the time the season turns
At the end of the day, he had to go back to the very people in desperation. But meanwhile, we had lost, in terms of time, of planting and whatever. But he went to these guys and he purchased at a higher price. And he couldn't even, we couldn't have a good yield, that year, 2021, 2022. We couldn't have a good yield because they messed up with agriculture. It goes into the sheds, the reserves, our food reserves.
Yeah.
And he sees these piles of maize, and his ministers are coming up to say, we have a lot of maize, so we can export and get money, get foreign exchange. And they sold. Meanwhile, they have messed up the farming.
The cycle.
So, and what happened now, 2021, 2022, 2023? Food prices hiked. They spiraled up. A bag of mealie meal that was costing 120, it went to 250. You see? That basically, I've just given you an example.
Small synopsis. When something happens, there's always an ancillary reaction. So if you have a slump in, say, copper sales, you don't plan it, maybe coal will go higher because of slump. So in this case, enter the Zambia National Service. They're now into because they were full scale into vegetables and whatever.
They are in a mess. They are in a mess.
They're producing mealie meal now.
They are in a mess. Where are they getting the maize? And where are they getting the maize? And what is their capacity? In a nutshell, then you talk about also the fuel. I mean, they came up with this, no, we cannot be buying, government should not be buying fuel. We are going to give it to the private sector so that we can encourage competition. And they were thinking that when they encourage competition, then it will go down.
Price.
Unfortunately, they expose themselves because these businessmen, they are able to sit and agree.
Make a cartel, yeah.
So they stand before the government and they are making demands. Now the government of Zambia is in trouble because anytime they can switch off.
The time that I was in Zambia, the ARB had announced, like in the short time I was in Zambia, had announced, I think, 2 to 3 price adjustments.
Yeah.
And then now the diesel, historically diesel has always been really cheap. Now it's really catching up to the petrol. It's not, soon enough going to be exceeding the petrol price.
And so these are some of the things that he didn't realize, because when government procures fuel, it is to control, the market, so that they are not held at ransom by the business community. At the same time, they don't expose the citizens,
to price shocks, external shocks. Yeah.
So, and these are big things that I'm talking about. These are major products that, as a government, you need to have a hold. Yes, you can you liberalize, but make sure that you protect your interests.
Excuse me. So, and are we also accounting for the people who are around him though? Because he's not just his own person. He doesn't make all unilateral decisions. You've got ministers of energy. You've got minister of commerce. You've got smaller heads who have a more day-to-day function in these.
You see, the problem
Aren't they also to collectively blame?
the problem that we have, I would say, in politics, and particularly in Zambia, is that politics precedes professionalism, procedures. It overrides all these things. Because you are my friend, and we are good buddies and whatever. Come on, you look very healthy, very strong man, Minister of Defense. But what do you know about the military?
What qualifications, what experience?
What do you know about the military? What do you know? So these are some of the challenges. So some of the people that we get, I have a different view, really, when it comes to my government. I have a totally different view.
Do you have a shadow government?
No, of course I don't have a shadow government, but my idea of government is that politicians have to be politicians.
And
the technocrats have to be technocrats. The professionals, they have to be professionals. So my idea of government is that those who are supposed to be holding ministers are supposed to be like executives in those fields. Okay, so my view would to have ministers, professionals, whereby they apply for the jobs, they are interviewed on merit, and they get those jobs
based on merit.
Based on that. Then the politicians offer now checks and balances on these guys, such that a minister who is appointed is a minister, a professional in that field, and he's reporting to the president. But at the same time, he goes to parliament to face the ministers, the politicians, the MPs, to query him on his job.
Would you relate that to how Michael Chilufya Tayali was as well, the local government minister? He did a really good job when he was Minister of Local Government, long back. Minister of Health, he was a mover and a shaker.
Yeah, it's true. He was a good politician, and he used the power of a politician well, which is what he's supposed to be, really. Okay, and under these circumstances, you don't need to be a doctor to be the Minister of Health. Because you're supposed to implement policy.
Yeah.
So you use your political power to make the technocrats work.
Do their job.
Okay.
Which would be what? The permanent secretaries?
The permanent secretaries and going down. Now, the problem which is there is that these politicians, when they go there, they want to be like the ones that they know. Okay? They claim they know they are the bosses. I'm the Minister of Health. And so I know better than all the doctors that are there.
Which is definitely not the case.
Yeah. And even them, they're subservient. I mean, they are scared to challenge you or to advise you, And then, apart from that, we have now, especially with President Hakainde Hichilema, where now he's even appointing cold-blooded politicians as permanent secretaries, as technocrats. We have a number of them.
Could you give an example?
I'm telling you, I don't. This is why I'm so effective. This is why I'm effective, because I don't speak from without. I will give you one good example. Thabo Kawana, the permanent secretary for Ministry of Information, since we are in media. This is a man that, I mean, at least the CV that I know of, he used to be a driver in the Ministry of Works and Supply. He used to be a driver, not a head driver, a driver in the Ministry of Works and Supply. That is his experience, a driver. And of course, he's very vocal. He did very well in politics and whatever. Today, he's heading all the media houses in Zambia. They answer to him. What policy does he understand? What does he know about media? What does he know? This is one example that I would give you.
Do you think that it is there's more method to the madness? So if I want to keep power, say for example as a president, I don't want to appoint people who know their job. I would rather put people who are not very cognizant with their job so that they can have a sort of dependency. You see, a lot of the time when we watch like Zambian news or something, minister of something will come on TV and then they would say, 3/4 of a statement, and then the last quarter would be, thanking the president.
Yeah.
Always hinging on the president.
Yes. Before, I mean, there is, before a minister says anything, according to the president, even when, you really don't understand how they manage to fuse in.
But they always do that.
They do it.
What is that? What is that about?
It is about politics. Why we are dragging in Africa, or particularly in Zambia, in terms of why we don't develop, because we prioritize so much the politics, keeping the power. It's about keeping the power. We don't look at delivery. We don't look at delivery. We look at keeping the power. For us, what keeps you in power is appeasing people. Appeasing people. But you are appeasing them from what resources?
To what detriment as well. Yeah.
Exactly. From what resources? Because when I appoint you, I need to pay you. And I need to pay you well. But the money that I'm paying you, where is it coming from? When you are not delivering. When all you are doing is praising Chilufya Tayali, the president Chilufya Tayali, the president Chilufya Tayali. I'm not interested in that.
I've sat through some meetings, I won't mention, it's like very far, I'm telling you, like the tiniest country at the corner of the world. And the person, the Zambian representative of that really tiny country, is half the speech praising, the president back in Zambia. And we're sitting there. Anyway.
What are you talking about? Because they don't deserve it. Like the people that are in foreign missions. A good example, I will give you another example of this woman who was recently fired in South Africa. This woman used to sell tea at the market, selling tea. But because she had the influence as a politician in the market, she was appointed ambassador to South Africa. And look at the scandals that came out of there. We have a number. I don't want.
Yeah, let's not make it a name calling episode.
So, but these are the we unfortunately I've just given. I had to give that concrete examples. So, but these are the challenges that President Hakainde Hichilema faced. Okay, and because himself like he always says, he says it himself. I suffered, I stayed too long in opposition. Now I'm here. You think I can go easily? No. I can't go easily. I'm here now. So he's busy looking at how he can consolidate that power. When he hears me talk, instead of looking at me to say, what is this guy saying? What is this guy saying? What can I pick from this interview? He's looking at, how can I fix this guy? How did this journalist found him? Who can get that guy?
So the bulk of the people who actually listen to you, unlike the politicians or the people who are holding on to power and they don't want to let it go, the youth, the people who really, I would say, have somewhat defined your career so far. Because they're coming.
Yeah.
You just mentioned your age earlier on.
Yeah.
It's in the afternoon of your life.
Yes. Yeah.
Edgar Lungu, afternoon of his life. The president, afternoon.
Yeah.
The youth are the ones who are coming through. And a lot of these listen to you.
Yeah.
what's your core message? Let's remove the personalities of the afternooners. Let's look at the young guys who are coming
Yeah.
to the scene, because these are the ones who we are really pouring into.
Yes.
What's your core message?
I strongly believe, I mean, I'm struggling, to be president, and I hope one day I will be. Hopefully it will not be too late. But really, I don't think my generation will change much, because I mean we are finite. We will die. So the other generation is they are the ones that will come and make a difference. And how can we change this generation that is coming? Number one is to let our young people know that there are no shortcuts to life. There are no shortcuts to life. With the technological age that we are living in, where everything, the AI coming in, our young generation, I mean, they have no patience. They have no patience. They think like, even becoming president is just a matter of putting somebody in a microwave, 2 minutes, it's out, But there are certain things that you can't make shortcuts on. If you want to build a strong story building, there is no any other way. AI, whatever, the foundation just have to be there. Those pillars just have to be there.
Are we saying that, I don't want to say going forward, but are we saying that you are focusing on helping build the foundation? Or is that the modus operandi by putting the people in power to task? Is that your way of translating the need?
I'm talking about preparation.
Yeah.
I'm talking about preparation. We need to prepare people. They need to go through the drill, the process, and then be something. So it's not just a matter of, jumping from there, and no, it is not. It is not just a matter of, because you have been so loyal to me, now I'm president, I should give you this big position. No, it's not just because, yes, I'm the president, now you should drive this big car. You should own. Where are you getting all these things? So they have to be preparation. Even becoming president, for myself, I formed a political party in 2016. In 2021, in 2016 itself, 2016 we had an election. I didn't run for presidency. I didn't.
Have you run for presidency?
No, because I'm not ready. I need to grow. Even today, I am not that guy to say, I want to become president. No, I want to grow. And I don't mind being part of a government. Learn my ropes. What Hakainde Hichilema went through, the challenges that he went through. Hakainde Hichilema had an opportunity to change a lot of things. But unfortunately, he lost that opportunity because he didn't have the knowledge. He didn't have the know-how on how to go about these things. He didn't. So he has lost an opportunity. And it is going to be very difficult. We are going into an election.
I was going to say that, yeah.
We are going into an election in 2026. And, it's the first time I'm saying this, but is likely going to win an election. It is the first time I'm saying this on your program. And I know it will run in so many blogs. But yes, Hakainde Hichilema is likely going to return 2026 general elections. And he's going to do it because really the opposition has not been ready to take over. Readiness, preparing.
Speaking of opposition, although before we get back into that, sorry, I apologize. Let's continue. So advice number one for the youth listeners is that they need to go through the process. There is no shortcuts.
No shortcut. Whatever it is, school, get educated for it. Get educated. get educated, get the relevant qualifications and knowledge, because it's not just getting a paper.
Yeah.
Now we have so many universities and colleges, I mean, some of which really they are giving very compromised education. So it is not just about going into a school, into a college. Is this college really qualitable? There is also quality in education. Quality is not just in your clothes that you wear, you know. No, even in education, there's quality. So look at the quality education. Some people, they don't do well, you know, when they are leaving their secondary, their senior secondary, and instead of maybe upgrading their results of their secondary school, senior secondary, they choose to go to some cheap college, because those are the shortcuts I'm talking about.
It's compromised and they just want to take in anyway.
Because this one cannot take me, this school cannot take me with these results. So let me go to a school that can take me. No, go back, sort out that. Go into a good school, get a good qualification. After you get a good qualification, don't rush, don't think of being big, you know, this big car, you know. I mean, we have a lot of our young people, you know, getting these vehicles, expensive vehicles, you know, to show off, and yet they're still living under the roof of their parents, you know, under the roof of those are the shortcuts. So moderate yourself, and we, especially parents and we leaders, we should be able to tell these things to our children. Don't just be excited. I mean, look at the phones these days.
Yeah.
I mean, phones are coming in, you know, every now and then, new model. And our young people, they are the ones in the forefront to
They
buy.
even know about the phone before it's released.
Exactly. They are the ones, but where are they getting the resources? So it is this kind of attitude, because of there's so much of wanting these things, these material things, even when they are given a responsibility, they are given a job, their jobs, the money that they are getting don't seem to make sense.
No, not at all.
So yes, they look for politics, they get into politics, they want to be on those positions, and the corruption comes in. So we need to prepare our young people, and our young people need to moderate themselves. You are better off taking your time. Like in my case, I am sure if I take my time, I am well prepared. The time that I'll be president, I think I can make a difference. I will not be like President Hakainde Hichilema or President Edgar Lungu, who just chanced being president. Boom, he's a president.
Well, advice number 2, a lot of what you're saying speaks to, because in as much as you're saying, you know, go through the proper channels, take your time, that speaks to resilience. You have to be resilient. Clearly, you've been resilient in this system. I mean, look at what you've gone through. Here we are now, in a foreign country.
Absolutely. You have to be resilient. You have to be resilient. You have to.
What does resilience look like? How would you define it in your own terms? Self-denial.
Self-denial. Being disciplined. Because resilient requires part of you giving away something, part of you.
Giving up something.
Part of you. Going through some rough patches, and you don't give up. But our young people, really, this generation, they don't want discomfort. And some of us parents, you know, or us leaders, we feel like, you know, taking our children through some discomfort is human rights abuse, you know. But no,
it helps you.
It helps you. It forms character. That's where the resilience comes. Resilience is about character. If you don't have character, forget it, because it requires, you have to go through some discomfort, some pain. I am talking to you, it's because of the resilience. Otherwise, I would have given up.
Yeah, long time.
I mean, look how I'm in here, I'm even in an exile. Now I'm going to talk to you. I had people that were saying, no, you can't talk to him. And I said, no.
May I ask why they would say, well, like what one reason they would say don't talk to, don't? Which part was I not favorable?
Well, I'm here because of first of all, but firstly, I mean, with them, it's the issue of security. I mean, they had to do their vetting. Okay, they had to do their vetting. I gave them your links and whatever. And at the end of the day, they couldn't get much on you.
Yeah.
So it was difficult to really, like, where are we placing
it? Yeah.
Exactly. So and
Like,
then
why would he have an interest?
exactly. And then they asked me, "Have you ever met him?" No, I've never met him. Did you know him before this? No, I didn't. And then what was meant to be, resilience on your part worked the other way on them. I like, because we couldn't meet.
Yeah, we couldn't.
And then you said, no, I will postpone. And then the guys were like, why would he postpone? Why? He came for these other things, and then all of a sudden he's here and he's waiting to see you. So it is all out of good intention.
Yes. Yeah,
and then secondly, of course, it's an interview. Why am I here? I'm here because of talking. So they don't know what might come out of here.
True.
And how
Yeah.
it might escalate my situation.
And the worst part of it all is something which we are very careful not to do is, how people take a clip here, that clip, and then stitch it together and then make you sound like you were saying something that you were not saying.
Well, it is going out there. It may not come from you.
True.
But others may basically cut one particular set and run with that. So it is all in the good interest that they say, I mean, this is what has brought you problems. And you want to do it whilst you are here, And I said, yeah, I'm going to do it. About the trusts, I so much believe in God. And yes, I've got people that are looking after me. I've got security around me. But at the end of the day, really, it's God that protects me. So I listen to what do I feel the Spirit is telling me. And then, meeting strangers, every friend, all the friends that I have, at one point they were strangers.
True.
So until you take that risk, to meet a stranger, you never know new friends. So pretty much, but anyway, all these things, from my point of view, it's continuing fighting. Instead of going into a hole and say, no, I can't do this now and whatever. No, but I'm continuing moving in the direction that I believe I should go. And one thing that I always check is my conscience. I'm a person that do things from my conviction. It is not about to please this one and that one. I say things as they are. Yes, sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I don't have the right facts. Sometimes my judgment is impaired, but at least I do it from a
good place.
My conviction.
Do you have any regrets? Any significant regrets? Not just the minor ones of discomfort, and I shouldn't have said that because then I ended up in jail or something, but like any major regrets that the listening youth should look out for? And by you, I mean the leader in you, not necessarily Chilufya Tayali, the personality.
I wish
any words of caution?
I wish I would be more patient. I wish I were more patient.
How so?
Because sometimes I've rushed, and in rushing I've made mistakes. So sometimes you need to allow time. This is something that I've learned in my 50 years of living now. Now I take a bit of time. I'm a person that can act on impulse, that can react immediately. But sometimes it's good to take your time. Yes, you have seen it. You think you can do it. Yeah, but take a little bit of time. But don't take too long because opportunities might go.
Like the morning mist.
Yeah, but I have that balance where at least you allow a little bit of time, whether you are upset, because most of the times when the things that where we make mistakes is when we are emotional. Because when we are emotional, our judgment
Is impaired.
is impaired. So, especially when you are emotional, hold back a little bit. Hold back a little bit. Yeah.
Is there a method, or like in a practical way? Because this issue of emotions is, I think personally, because I have thought about it quite a lot. Personally, I am of the view that it's not talked about enough, because especially in the Zambian context, people are very emotional. We recently had the whole Dandy Crazy funeral, and then there was a social media pundit who said some stuff, and 3/4 of the country went upset about what he said. They had an emotional response, typically because he had an emotional response to what he felt happened, and God willing, it won't go beyond, it won't explode beyond what it should. But to me, what I was really seeing is just emotions everywhere. The facts of the matter were, if the one person that passed away, of the many that passed away, if the one had not been severely intoxicated, the chances of survival are increased. If you are under intoxication, the chances of survival, medical intervention can only go that far. But the way you convey that message as well matters. If you're using too much emotive language, you're missing the mark, because you may have a good intention.
Yes.
You may have a valid point.
Yeah.
But if you communicate it in the wrong way.
And exactly that is my regret. Exactly that is my regret. Because yes, some of the things that I've said or done, like I said, are from my conviction, and some of them actually good. But because of the way that I did it, the emotions that I put into it, I stirred up other people's emotions. And, others decided either to insult me, others decided arrest him. Yeah, so it is true, but there's a point that you have raised to say it's not spoken about so much. And this is true because how do we prepare our young people to be mature? Even when they go to school, okay, you are a lecturer yourself. Mostly people are preoccupied with giving them the academics, the intellectual knowledge,
The theory, yeah.
than the human aspect. I mean, but we need that. We need that. And when we are growing up, at least for me, when I was growing up, our teachers used to incorporate the human aspect. How are you dressed? When you go to school, you needed to dress up
To be presentable,
accordingly.
yes. Pleasant, yeah.
Black shoe, socks, whatever. That. Now, these things are going away. So our people are growing up like the same way we nurture trees. We give it the water and it's growing. That's it. So we have adults. Yes, he's an adult, but really, in terms of maturity, this person is nothing.
I can name so many out of Zambia who work with. They can go on the radio station. Once the mic is on, oh my God, turn off the station. Looking into the future, projecting into the future, are we, after all of this, when you package all the learnings, the experiences, good and bad, and of course you're saying that at some point you're still looking forward to, having your name and your face on the ballot, so that, the youth who've been supporting you for this long time can actually have an opportunity to vote for you. Because we there's voting by the ballot, but there's also voting by supporting. We can sit down when you turn on your Facebook Live, and then they come. Some, yes, are just coming for nefarious reasons, to come and just shoot you down, find a point, or cut a clip and then shoot at you. But then there are others who genuinely want to listen to your voice, your reasoning. projecting into the future, are we going to see a different type of Chilufya Tayali?
Just to add a little bit, I've actually contested elections 3 times or twice myself, but as a party we have contested elections 3 times. Twice myself, I contested as a mayor of Lusaka.
Did you?
Yes, I did. In 2016.
Huh.
Yeah. So I contested in 2021. I contested as a mayor of Lusaka, and I actually came number 3.
Nice.
The first one, it was won by the PF. The second was the UPND, and I was the third one. Of course, the votes, were not that much, but I claimed that
Third
position.
position, yes.
And later on, there was a by-elections in Kabwata. I contested, and I came out number 4. So, testing myself in terms of, how many votes can I get? I've tested myself, and I think I've done well. And I can tell you, there is so much money that is invested in elections. You have these T-shirts printed out, billboards put up. In all these elections, I've never printed not even one T-shirt.
Right.
One T-shirt, not even one T-shirt. I've never put up one billboard, never.
But still,
But I still get that, which encourages me, because if I were to invest as much as those others invest, I think really
stand a much better chance.
I'll do much, much, much better. And I don't mind what I got. I'm satisfied with my performance according to where I am, because at the moment, in politics, the first thing that you need is to grow your name. People don't vote for somebody they don't know.
Yeah.
They have to know you. And letting your name go out there, you have to do it in whichever way you can. Whichever way you can. If you are a politician, make sure that your name go out there. Whatever platform that you can get, whatever medium that you can get, please let your name go. And that was like my first strategy, to sell my name. And I think I've done quite well, because my name now, there are a few people that, yes, there's a percentage, but the percentage, a bigger number of people in Zambia know about Chilufya Tayali. Now I need to go into the next gear, and that next gear is to get the resources, because yes, people know me, but now I need to start convincing them. How do I convince them? I need a bit of resources, because some of them, when you go to talk to them, they are hungry. They have not eaten for a number of days. So how are you going to start talking to this person who is so hungry?
No way.
You have no choice but to
feed them first,
and then talk to them. I don't have the resources. So I don't have the resources. How do I get the resources? This is why I play with the big guys now. I play with the big guys, those with resources.
Don't you run a risk of then, like in business, I'm 95% a business person. We're a bit scared of funding. We want the capital. We eat, sleep, drink capital. But then you kind of have to be careful the source of your capital, because then they can dictate some part of the operations of your business. I could translate the same in politics as well. Depending on who offers you those resources, usually they would come with, conditions.
Unfortunately, you may not arrive. Unfortunately,
without the conditions.
And it's like I'll give this analogy. It's like a beautiful girl, who wants to get married, and then sets up her standards
very high.
I have to be looked at. Well, you might reach 50 like me. You are still looking, and you have passed your time. So, and life, unfortunately, is just like that. You need to compromise. And it just depends on how far you can compromise. So, you need to compromise. So yes,
Within reason.
yes, well, yes, people. I mean, like some of the people that even now, I mean, I struggled a lot when I was in the country and to get out of my country, whatever. I needed help, and some of the people really that helped me. I mean, if I had my way, I would not want them to help me. But
I
then,
hear you.
you know, like you need to be realistic. You need to be realistic. Yes, set up, think, have an idea of you know, the kind of people that you want. I want good businessmen. I want whatever. Like I have my ism is that Zambia must be owned by Zambians. Zambia must be owned by Zambians.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you say that, where do you put the foreign interest, the foreign business?
Who so happen to have the resources that you need.
Exactly. You know, so you need to compromise. You need to compromise. You need to find a balance.
Do you think that in all of this, because a lot of our life circumstances, we ignore some of them we internalize it, we just say, look, it is what it is. Is it changing you?
Oh yes, it does. Life changes you, and you need to be flexible to be changed by life. You need to, if you are rigid, I don't think, especially if you are aspiring for leadership, this is why you also see, you know, certain people, when they are presidents, when they are in opposition, they speak in a certain way. The moment they're in there, they speak differently. And I was just listening to, you know, Donald Trump, you know, before he was talking about TikTok, you know, he was saying, no, we're going to sort out TikTok. TikTok will not be banned. Okay. And later on, he said, no, we will look at TikTok. Before, during the campaign, TikTok will not be banned. They want to get away your freedoms. It will not be banned.
Freedom of speech.
Yes. Come president-elect, no, we will have to look at TikTok. We would have to look at TikTok. We will have to see how we can save TikTok. TikTok is banned. He comes up, we are going to extend.
Yeah, they gave an extension. Yeah.
90 days. 90 days. I'm going to sign an executive order to extend TikTok for 90 days. So we are not out of the dungeon in spite of whatever Donald Trump said. Donald Trump has been changed by the circumstances under which he is. He's a president, but is not, he doesn't have limitless powers. He's limited in a way.
By the circumstances.
And sometimes what may limit you is the law. Sometimes what may limit you are the people around you. Sometimes what may limit you, it is your family, your wife, who limit you. So,
yeah.
So you need to be alive to this reality.
When we talk about the people around you, what word, in closing, what word can you give the youth, the listening youth, about the people around them? For me in business, especially in my business, we a lot of I get some criticism once in a while in Australia because they think I'm a one-man band. They see the face, they see the name. The name of the business is you know, my first name and so on. And they think, oh yeah, you're the one who does everything. And there's a lot of prodding that I have to say, no, actually it's a team of people. And this team, I have kind of known them for years before we got to where we are here. What can you say out of your experience, in your own words, about the team around you?
What I've come to learn, because even myself, when I registered my business, I actually registered it basically in my name. And today, as I sit here, after going through so many things and whatever, I think you have to be the dream carrier. Okay? You have to be the dream carrier. You have to put out yourself. because it's you who has the vision. The vision that you have may not be known by others. They don't see it. It's you. So you have to be enthusiastic about your idea. So at some stage, you need to, for lack of a better word, be the bully, because it's you to make this. But as you grow, you need that name need to go down and let others also come in.
Like succession planning.
Not really succession, but teamwork. Teamwork, because teamwork is very important. People have more confidence to when they see a team than when they see one man. But they have to be a point. At which point do you bring in others? At which point? There have to be a point.
Yeah.
Because if you bring in others when you are not strong, you can actually be destroyed.
Yeah.
Because human nature, usually we are good at criticizing than encouraging. So the very people that you bring in can actually bring you down.
Yes, true.
A good example that I can give from a political point of view, there is a party in Zambia which they have got some resources around, and they have been flashing around appointments of leaders. Every day they are appointing leaders. But then we have also been seeing a lot of these people resigning. Every other day there is this one has resigned, this one has resigned, this one has resigned, this one has resigned. That can actually jeopardize your progress, because now people are those who want to join. I mean,
yeah, obviously.
Even in a company, you have got so many people, and retention of workers is very low. People are resigning. You want to inspire.
No one wants to be
investment. You want to inspire, people to join you. So until when you are kind of ready, then bring in people to show that teamwork, kind of. So take your time, reach a point where you are strong enough to say, now I can have people. And then again, even when you're bringing in people, take your time to know these people. So these should be people that, like in my case, in my political party, I don't mind. You know, people say, no, you're one-man party. Who is your SG? I don't mind about that. I don't mind. Because when we will be ready, when this party will be attractive, people will be flocking to come and join the political party.
Then you will pick the right
and
ones.
I'll be able to hold them accountable. They'll be disciplined. Because if they resign, they'll be feeling they are losing out.
Yeah.
A good organization, workers want to stay, even when they are being kicked by the bosses, because it's a good organization. But if it is a small organization that is trying to grow up, I mean, you'll be insulted by everybody.
Thank you so much for agreeing again to talk with us. It's been a very interesting conversation, and I do appreciate your time and your candor.
No, a pleasure has been mine, and thank you. Keep up doing the good work that you are doing, and we hope that one day you and I will be in Zambia building our country.
For sure.
Because ultimately, we should all converge, there. We should, yes, circumstances have taken us far and wide, but we are getting something. There is an experience that we are getting, but all these experiences that we are getting, for me, I look forward that we'll be able to go back. The experience that you are getting where you are, the experience that I'm getting here, other people, the experience that they are getting, and the people that you know, the network that you are creating, all those, if we can come together, I think we can change our country.
Indeed. No matter where you go, no matter what you do. I mean, look, even now I have I have an Australian passport. But when I'm applying for anything, somewhere to say, to say citizenship, I'll say Australia, but it's a place of birth. You cannot, no matter what you do, no matter where you go. So whether it is that we've moved out and then still coming back, so-called diasporans coming back, home is still home. The soil is still the soil. And then the way the human body is built, I believe, it's like frequency. If you're a positive charge or a negative charge, you can't just switch it. When you connect what your essence is, you will know that you've connected. And no matter how much, I've been out of Zambia for 13, 14 years now. Zambia still, here we are, still talking about Zambia intimately, talking with you about issues of Zambia. So home is home, and we're all eventually going to descend there. And it's also in our best interest to keep an eye on the leadership. We are happy, and not use the word happy. We are observing, and we have gratitude for the leaders that have come and are leading now.
Yeah.
We are really looking, and we're watching. We may not agree with everything, but we are happy that it's still moving forward anyway.
Exactly.
But we are also very concerned about the leadership that's coming in. You are definitely leadership that's coming in. And even if we remove all the personalities, just look at the genealogy of things, the way attrition happens. The current president won't be there for the next 70 years.
No,
Obviously not.
Mm.
So, as you were saying earlier, it's about spreading that name, getting to learn the ropes for yourself. The time will come, whether you are president or you will be vice because of someone who's more popular, it doesn't matter. You are already in the trenches for leadership.
Yeah.
You're already a leader. That's why we're talking with you. And it's inevitable. So we are very interested in the future leadership. And in as much as we're not, vying for presidency, but we are all united by one common goal, and that is to see the way forward for our mother country, Zambia.
Indeed. Thanks very much.
It's been a pleasure.
Yep.
The world, every nugget worth its while. Voices echo in the night.
Certified, go, but yeah. Nugget Junction, here we share.